Drop the brace.
What's up, guys? It's Ryan here from FullHouseRS, and today I have a special guest, everyone's favorite Liverpoolian, Jiggy.
Oh, for God's sake. Every time.
And today we're going to be talking about the IGN article that was released about RuneScape 3 that accidentally revealed the name of one of the new skills, which is Divination. So, basically, all that we got from the article was that the name of it was Divination. Everything else is pretty much speculation.
Oh, we got a little bit more than that.
We got a little bit more.
Where it says, if I can straight quote from it, that it will apparently play a key role in latter stages of RuneScape 3's story, which is a pretty big deal.
So because the way he phrased it, some people are saying that it sounds like it's the second skill, but the way I think of it is that both skills will be an important part of the history of RuneScape, because it wouldn't make sense to release the second skill first, the name of it.
But then that it makes me think, like, I'm not sure how much IGN was actually meant to release with this article, because it seems like a very abstract way to release the name of such a big piece of content to people.
Yeah, because this skill has been one of the most anticipated skills.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with everyone having so many issues with Jagex and everything they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It really needs to be a big hitter at this point.
And then, so eventually what me and Jiggy found was the guy who wrote the article, he has a Twitter account, and people were tweeting him questions. And one of the questions was, is it a free-to-play skill or not? And basically what he says is that it's freemium, which means it's basically like any other free-to-play skill. You can level it to 99 in the free game, but obviously if you get membership, you'll be able to train it faster, unlock more content with it, etc.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people have been talking about this whole freemium tag. Like, they think it's going to involve the Solomons or Squid and Fortune or some other microtransaction, but it's very unlikely. I think people are just using their hate for microtransactions to, downplay everything about the update.
And I don't think obviously Jagex wants money, but I don't think they're stupid or greedy enough to make it so that, like, skill pendants work, that they release bonuses for the skill that you can only get through spins.
I mean, that would literally be game breaking.
Yeah.
Like, that would be probably the last straw for a lot of people.
And the thing is, like, how good this skill is will determine a lot in terms of the future of the game. Because if this is just like a terrible skill, everyone's kind of like on the fence. So.
Yeah, they need it to wow people. They need people straight away to be engaged in it and want to train it, because otherwise they're going to struggle to keep all the maxed and comped players out there who are just looking for something more to do.
And then someone else tweeted him asking about the release date, and he said he's not sure, but he believes it comes out with RuneScape 3. So that would be the summertime, which is also what he says.
Like, the only thing that makes me wonder about that is, like, first he seems kind of unsure because there's no, like, language that suggests it's a definite or he's been told anything. And, like, with the release of RuneScape 3, they've got the alpha interface it's an alpha at the moment, but they've got to bring that all together and they've got to bring it all out at once. It feels like they wouldn't do so many big projects in one go.
That would just be like a mind fuck because everything came out on the same day.
Yeah, not only that, but the amount of glitches there are going to be. I mean, they can test and have beta testers, QA testers, but there's always going to be glitches that just don't get picked up until everything gets put together.
Mm-hmm.
And they just will not be able to cope with 3 lots of big game-changing content coming out at once.
And then in terms of like the content of the new skill, what was it we were saying before about the gathering?
Well, like divination, like the basic meaning of it is like the attempt to gain knowledge and insight into a question, or to be inspired by a god to do so. I mean, obviously that ties in really well with the World Wakes and everything that Mod Osborne said in the podcast. And well, like the only way I can see it being gathering is sort of like gathering favor of the gods in some particular way.
Hmm.
Like it can't. It's not just like a tangible item. It has to be like something a bit bigger than that.
And something that I brought up was like the Guthix trees from the butterfly event. Like, what if it had something to do with that? The the tree was, I guess you could say it was more divine than the other trees or something, right?
Oh, definitely.
Maybe there's going to be resources like that you have to collect or something, and like give it to like a god or like a statue of a god or like something.
I mean, obviously there's plenty of things they can do with it. That's definitely not a question.
The good thing for Jagex, if this was an accident being released to us, even though they gave us the name, we still don't know anything about it.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's like dungeoneering. Wonder what that could be. But divination, it's just so ominous.
Yeah, it's something that very, very few players would even have heard of before. I mean, I suppose everyone's heard of divination through Harry Potter, and that's probably about it.
Hmm. That was that one professor who was doing like the teacups and shit, right?
Professor Trelawney. It's like only in the third one. Being British, you have to be a bit of a Harry Potter nerd.
So on the forums, we also found a post, and it basically, they have some type of wiki extract on it, and it says dowsing is it says divination actually has a branch that focuses purely on collecting things called dowsing. And if you look it up on wiki, you could see that it would be part of the new skill. It says dowsing is a type of divination employed in attempts to locate groundwater, buried metals or ores, gemstones, oil, grave sites, and many other objects and materials, as well as so-called currents of Earth radiation, without the use of scientific apparatus.
The part of that sounds interesting to me. Obviously, the whole like resources that fits into it, but I think that'd be a bit too similar to other skills, like just like mining and stuff. I like the bit about grave finding.
Yeah.
Because I feel that could fit in a lot better with the whole god story, because obviously like each god has had their followers and like all the battles that have been fought, like finding graves as part of the skill to learn more about gods seems like a possibility.
And then we also, with the Guthix butterflies, if you caught 5 of them, you would unlock a memory. And Jiggy has a quote from what Guthix said in the memory. And what was it, Jiggy?
The full quote that was posted is, "A chance to teach Agi about the tradition of hospitality. She sat on the nomad's lap and nodded like a serious grown-up, although I don't think she understood his story. The nomad told us about the magical disturbance near Askroth. The diviners were ecstatic, saying that it had opened up whole new lines of research. The most popular theory that it was a portal and that it was yet to fully open. A portal to another world. The diviners were arranging a welcoming committee." So, am I right in saying Askroth was where Guthix was from?
Yes.
So that's essentially, so that's how Guthix brought people to the world. Was this portal?
And actually, the portal that he's talking about, I think, is the portal that Saradomin came through.
So if we follow that logic, and if everyone's been talking about the gods returning, obviously Mod Osborne spoke about it a lot in the podcast, that could be part of that.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of like how this skill is being released, do you think it's gonna be just like, yep, here's a new skill, have fun with it, or is it gonna be introduced with like another game-breaking quest?
I don't think I think it'll be. I still think it'll be introduced through a mysteries. Be it. I don't know if this will be with it straight away or afterwards, but I think a mysteries is the first part of the quest. Skill. First part of the skill.
What exactly are those mysteries? I haven't really read it.
Did you listen to the podcast?
No.
I listened to it last night. The emissaries, they're not people that they may not be people that have met the god or even have had any contact with him, but think of groupies, essentially, the fans and followers of each god. And they know certain things that we may, as players, may not know, and then they're there to teach you those things. And there'll be things like tasks to do for them. Say, like, fight something, bring something back to them. But once you choose one of the gods to worship, you aren't limited. Like, you can change your mind.
And then it was basically like the 5 normal gods. It was Guthix, Sarah, Bandos, Armadil.
Well, the Guthix faction was, I don't think it's gods now. I think it's known as the Godless faction. It's like a group of people who believe they don't have to answer to the power of gods.
Yeah, and then there was
Seren,
and what was
Zaros, and then the most interesting one of them all was that Slisk has in fact got an emissary, which begs the question: is he actually a god now?
Because I think we talked about this a long time ago, but it's the Staff of Armadil and how you attain godship through it. So basically, what happened with the Staff of Armadil is that Zamorak had it because he wanted to attain godship. And he stabbed Zeros with the staff. And then Zeros and Zamorak, they were fighting with each other. And eventually they had both gotten impaled with the staff at the same time. So first Zamorak stabbed Zeros, and then Zeros stabbed Zamorak when they were still connected. And that's how Zamorak became a god. And they're wondering because that didn't really happen when Slisky killed Guthix.
Yeah, he was killed. It wasn't like a direct impalement. It was
like
killed by magic. Yeah, I mean, like, some of the ideas floating around is that the power from the Guthix is either perhaps stored in the staff itself, or maybe you've inherited some of the power through Guthix giving it to you in the memories afterwards, or Slisk gaining like some of the power but not all of it.
I don't know, because the whole point of Guthix, like that quest, was to learn that Guthix didn't want a god. He didn't really give you godship, did he?
No, he didn't give, but he gave you a certain degree of power. Like, he didn't make you a god in the typical sense of the word, all ruling leader, but it seemed like he gave you some like section of his power, however small it might be. Another part of the it seems that the player is going to have a lot more control over which direction the quest lines actually go, because it says that according to Mod Mark that players are going to have a decision on which gods win each battle. Because by the sounds of the article, it makes it sound like each area is going to be fought over by gods. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens if you let a certain god beat another.
I wonder if warbands will have anything to do with it.
I mean, it could well do, because you've got the different factions, the Armadillians, the Bandos followers.
And I know that what's his name, the tree guy?
Quickus.
Yeah, he says something about like, oh, the gods are fighting again or something. If you talk to him.
Also, another thing that interested me was the picture in the article. I mean, it could be completely random, but it is of the God Wars dungeon. So, I mean, that hints at something big going down between the gods. It seems like too random of a picture.
And plus, in the last quest, we found out that, the generals can just walk out.
Oh yeah, there is that. I mean, I'm not entirely sure why they haven't done it sooner. because Guthix was still alive at this point.
Hmm.
But I guess that's another plot hole they could fill if they haven't already. They also said they intend to do something with how Slisk ended up with the Staff of Armadil. Because obviously it was broken after
Yeah.
the Ritual of the Marjarat, but it was
There's
never...
There's a huge hole.
Yeah, that is a large hole.
Wasn't
But
there some speculation how he got it? Something about like
Oh, no,
shards?
no, not exactly. I think it's Mod Anna who was involved with the quests. She said something about uh, Slisk having a direct bargain with the Dragonkin, because obviously they had part of the stuff, I think, after the quest, Ritual of Mazrat.
Hmm.
So I think they want, as far as I know, they want to do something involving that, because it's a bit of a big plot hole right now.
So that's pretty much all me and Jiggy know / speculate about the new skill. I know that the both of us, we have been looking into it for a long time today, especially Jiggy.
That's where boredom takes me.
But I know I can't wait for this new skill to come out and to see what it's gonna be. And hopefully Jagex will release some more information now that they've accidentally spoiled it for everyone.
I'm interested to see how they cover themselves here.
Hmm. And
Because, yeah.
I'll have all the links to anything we talked about in the description of the video if you want to check them out. And aside from that, guys, we will see you tomorrow for a new video. Bye.
See ya.